Since Identity V first released in 2018, we've seen a ton of new hunters get added to the game, and while some of them were obviously designed to create a little bit of a scare, others are questionable in that aspect. We all know that Identity V hasn't done the greatest job sticking to the horror aesthetic that it first released with, but today, we're going to be looking at which skin is the scariest for each hunter. Ember has a lot of good contenders for scary skins, since he was released when the game had a heavier focus on the horror aesthetic, but for him I gotta go with Moonface. The white, soulless mask paired with the solid grey clothing is quite unsettling to me, just because of how out of place it feels with the rest of his skins. It doesn't really look like it's trying to go with a specific theme or character, it's just staring. For Joker, I have to go with Oven. The skin just nails the whole creepy clown theme, and with him being made out of a bunch of sharp metal pointy pieces, it just makes him feel really unnatural and dangerous. I think Ripper's scary skin is simply his worn clothes. In fact, I think this is one of the best worn clothes styles in the game. All of the dirt, grime, and ash covering him makes him look like he's been burned alive, and his vague facial features just look soulless. Coming in with another low tier skin, Bane's Boilermaker skin I think is his most frightening. This is actually a newer B tier skin, and I think the dark coloration combined with the red sort of metallic texture really makes him look menacing. Soulweaver has arguably one of the scariest skins in the game with Operating Table. The skin really goes for the whole medical horror theme, and it absolutely nails it. With her syringes for legs and her whole body wrapped in bandages, if you're afraid of the doctors, then this is not a skin you want to see in game. Geisha is kind of subjective whether it comes to if her character design is scary or not, but one skin that absolutely cannot be argued on is Rainmaker. Her attack form in the skin is just so disturbing, it reminds me of some sort of like old rotting doll. It's just such a switch up from a regular form that I'm sure it may catch a lot of people off guard. For Feaster, I gotta say that his newest Koa skin, Lord of Calamity, takes the cake for a scary skin. It's quite literally just some Lovecraftian, otherworldly monstrosity, and the design team fully embraced that for her skin. Now, I couldn't really find any scary skins for Chang, especially because I don't think his base design is very scary in the first place, so for him I'm just gonna go with his worn clothes outfit. Nothing special to see here. For Photographer, I have Peter Ratchery, and I don't think I really need to explain this one. Mad Eyes' scariest skin is undoubtedly Confined Dean, which is a bit similar to Soulweaver's Operating Table with the whole medical theme. The mess of wires and tubes running along his back honestly grossed me out a little, and it's one of the few skins in the game to actually have blood visible on it, so yeah, that's cool. I think it's pretty obvious what Dreamwitch's scariest skin is, and that's Picture Woman. The skin's so scary that it actually got banned in China. I unfortunately was never able to experience this crossover, and I highly doubt that I will ever get one this good again. For Axe Boy, I had to go with Forgotten Boy. The way his face looks like it's rotting and cracking in multiple different places reminds me of some old scary doll, and the vines snaking around him really look like he's been left out abandoned for quite a long time. Lucino's scariest skin has to be Ryuk from the Death Note crossover. I believe this is another skin that wasn't allowed to release in China. I think what makes this skin the scariest for me is the way he hovers over the ground as opposed to Lucino's default walking animation. It just looks really unnatural, and the unchanging grin is just plain out creepy. Bloody Queen is another character that just isn't scary in regards to her character design, so I had to go with Worn Clothes. It at least dirties her up a bit, and dirt equals scary, right? This might be a bit of a hot take, but I think that B-Duck is Bonbon's scariest skin. Some people think of the skin to be more goofy looking, but I think there's just something so comically off-putting about having a giant duck chasing you around. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Disciple is kind of an interesting one, because although I think her base design is quite creepy, none of her skins really choose to amplify her creep factor. That's why I'm going for her Worn Clothes outfit for this one. At least this style adds sort of like a tear stream of dirt going down her face, which you unfortunately can't really see in game due to her posture. I think Violinist is another character with a good roster of creepy skins to choose from, but I think I have to go with his B-tier Sigil of the Abyss. I like this one mostly due to the fact that I think his base design is creepier than a majority of his skins, and this skin specifically adds more to that. His red hair, paired with him being covered in these sort of thorny vines, create this sort of aesthetically pleasing but also scary look to him. Sculptor's scariest skin is probably Maria. I mean, the whole theme of the skin is literally medieval torture with all the spikes covering her chair and the Iron Maidens in the background. It definitely doesn't look pleasant. Undead doesn't have a lot of skins to choose from, so I decided to go with Conquer. The skin isn't really scary in the traditional horror aspect, but I do think it makes him look quite menacing. I think Three-Faced God is Breaking Wheel's scariest skin. The masks on his body look very angry and menacing compared to his original style, and the skin in general is just really quite large and towers over survivors. Naiad is another hunter that just isn't very scary, so she's gonna be another Worn Clothes pick, probably the weakest one out of all of them as well. I'm also gonna be going with Worn Clothes for Wax Artist, not because he isn't scary, but because I think that his base cosmetics embrace the horror theme the most, so his Worn Clothes style just ups that by a bit. For Nightmare, I'm gonna go with Abyss, mostly because of how huge this skin is in-game. If you've ever played against this skin as Survivor, you'll know that it makes him absolutely towering. tower over you. The gold features on him also make him appear to be more sharp and dangerous, and his hair has this kind of smoking effect that makes him look more ghostly. Clerk I don't find to be super scary, but I think the skin that matches the whore theme the most is her S tier creator. It's nothing special compared to a lot of the other Hunter S tier skins, mostly being made up of gold and other intricate looking clothing pieces, but I think her flaming green eye makes her just look a bit more monstrous and more threatening compared to her other skins. Hermit's scary skin is, well, I don't think I really need to explain this one either. I think that Nightwatch's scariest style is by far his default clothing. So this is going to be another one close pick, just because I think it amplifies that a bit more. For Opera Singer, I'm going to go with her original style for her scariest skin. The deep reds and blacks of her outfit make her look both elegant and deadly at the same time. I think her worn clothes style dulls this down a bit more, so I don't really like it as much as her original skin. Last but not least, we have Fool's Gold, which I'm going to go with Infernal Sin for this one. It's certainly not the scariest skin of the game, however I do like how the mask sort of transforms his face into something a bit more menacing and monstrous, and especially with the bony tail in the back, he just has a sort of theme of death and hell, which I think can be quite spooky. Alright, so that is it for all the hunters as of now. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. This took a very long time to make, so that would be much appreciated. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.